See, look at the colour on that now. On the image.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like the colour on there, does it?
No.
There we are. I'm always doing my hair. I'm with
I'll do mine as well.
I'm with young Dan here. Dan, it's been an eventful couple of days, hasn't it? You know,
Yeah.
I think. Do you think it's more beneficial actually being on site now
Oh yeah.
than what it would be in the classroom?
Oh yeah.
So
The challenges that you face on site are completely different to what you would get in a classroom.
and this is real, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
happening.
real life as it's happening. As
Yeah.
you're going along the job.
Get these
more-
words in now because I want to
yeah.
get it under a minute.
Yeah. You get
No.
more challenges every day.
Yeah, so the challenge yesterday, the customer's not here, and I went through that process
Yeah.
to get their approval for the shape because he'd drawn out in a certain way, didn't he?
Yeah.
But I can't explain all that, but we got the approval eventually, didn't we?
Yeah.
So there's more to follow. So I'm filming this morning. You can see where the water always hangs on the one edge. So that shows the indication of in which direction the water's falling. And it will just always hold like that because with porcelain you get water tension, basically because the water can't go through, so it just holds. But we have got a fall on there. You can see it, so we'll go into one side, and we've demonstrated that in earlier videos. The cut is done now. We've got the cut in, and we've got what we're going to do today. We're going to just show you now. We're going to start filling in that part so we can get up onto the manholes, so we can work off the slabs then to work around the manholes. So we've got a good dozen slabs to put in over there. We need access, you see, so we've got to get the slabs in over there. And the other thing, of course, what we're going to try and do when we get some muck on, we're going to start putting the odd little cut, hopefully in here, but keeping the grain. If you look at the grain and the pattern on the slabs in which direction, so the cut that we put in has got to go the same way. The grain has got to go the same way. Well, here we have, we've got a string line. So that area over there, going that way, is falling back to the wall, okay? Sorry about the camera then. And it's also fallen away from the house to this point. So we've got to make sure now when we start slabbing in these areas here. So we'll start with this slab here. First one's got to go in here. We've got one slurried there now, ready to go. Don't leave your slurry too long. We'll lay that one and we'll work to that line. We'll lay this one and work to that line, and so on, coming down this row here. But we've got to make sure that we try and get in as much as we can here, and just so we can gain access. So when we arrive tomorrow morning, these slabs would have gone off strong enough so we can actually walk on them. So if you look at these here, they were laid yesterday. We're not going to walk on them today, but we'll probably walk on them tomorrow. We'll have to gain access, but we will cover them up and we will keep them clean like what we've done over here. It's so important that you try and avoid walking on your slabs at all times until you're ready to grout. But I'm so pleased with that shape over there. I'm just so pleased with me. Right, what we're doing here, I'm just going to show you now, is we're marking more or less the halfway point. But what you've got to remember, what you've got to remember, there's a halfway point now for the for the slab, but the halfway point is going to be just after that, okay? We've got a 4 mil gap, so it's going to be 2 mil. But you've got to remember is that you might be running that way or you might be running that way. So if I lay a slab in here now to go in that direction, what I don't want is I don't want that space greater than the 2-inch gap that we're putting in. So what we've got to do, I will measure that now as well, because I just can't rely on that mark, because you could be running left and right and not exactly running square. Right, so what I was saying was about making sure that space is right and we're running square. I'm going to measure the distance there because I know that I've got a 4 mil gap all the way, so I go tight to the last slab that side, and what I have is 1 meter 615 to the outer side of the next slab. So if I go up there, I want 1 meter 615. If you look down here now, you'll be able to see it. I can manage that. 1 meter 615. There we are. So that, if you look really close on that now, Dan, you can see that is more or less the 4 mil gap, so we're running right. Okay mate, okay. So what we've got here, there's a compromise. We've got to get that sand from there in just a moment. So we'll start laying this slab here, and then we'll get an empty wheelbarrow. I'll chuck the sand in there, pull it back over there, and then we'll finish off these last 7 slabs then. And then the idea is then tomorrow, do we work on it tomorrow or do we not? Do we put a board across it? But the likelihood that we should do, as long as we work clean and we work tidy and we put something to spread the weight on there and put some membrane on it so we don't chip it, it doesn't stain it. But we've got to get in at some point. And some people will say, why didn't you work back? But you know, when you're working tight, you've got the door there and everything. I need to work on those slabs over there so I can get to the door. It's as simple as that. Well, there you are. Young Dan has just put the last slab in that row in, and you can see we've got roughly about just over 50 mil from there. So all the water then running down this wall, I talk about this all the time, there's copious amounts of water running down there, and what we don't want it going onto the paving. So by the time we create our gap there, we still got our joint, our spacer gap, we still got a space in there so the water can run down. And that's pretty good, and that's reduced loads and loads of cutting really, and it looks nice and neat, and we've gone to a full slab where possible. Well, there you are. This is the second week now, isn't it? So 5, 6, 8. So this is day 8. We've got the cutting on this side. We've got a few little cuts to do there, but the mirandering edge is done. We've got some infill to do over on that part, but we're gonna have to do that in dry weather. The last thing we want is clay getting in on this porcelain, because clay can be really dirty. You really can appreciate how good the slabs look on this video. Well, not on the phone, but maybe on the big screen. But there we are. There's our next push. Round the manholes, get some inspection trays in there, and over by the door. So I think the next thing we should do really is along the house, parallel along the house, don't you think, Dan, mate?
Yeah.
Get those infills there and those half cuts, and again on that side, so that it's finished along the house, and then we can concentrate on this bit. There you go. Somebody's going to say something that we haven't done something right or something wrong, but if we've got it wrong, you just need to tell us and let us know, because that's how we learn and that's how we build a community, supporting and helping each other.
So John, I see people on YouTube and they come across a bit more showboating rather than actually wanting to help.
You get it wrong. Well, yeah, you know, I just think that I've been in this industry a long time, and why can't I share what I'm doing? You know, originally the idea about the YouTube videos was basically to show my customers what I was doing, you know, so I could get a job, because jobs weren't so easy to get then as what they are now, you know, with this influx of garden improvements over the last few years, and certainly through COVID. Everybody wants to be a landscaper, everybody wants their garden done, people are using the outside more. But before, the idea of the YouTube account was just basically people could see who I am, what I do, how I go about it, and you know, not just about showboating and showing the work off, but me as a person, because it's so important. You've got to recognise that you want people in your home that you can trust. You know that the people that you invite in your home, you want to feel comfortable with, don't you?
Yeah, and you come across genuine, and you actually want to give that knowledge out.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I want to share what I've done there. You know, you've got to remember the knowledge that we've learned over the years. We're only leasing it, and why can't we share it? And you know, certainly, I remember moving to Cardiff or moving to Wales many years ago, and coming down here, and always remember seeing one landscaper in the yard. Nice guy, but always found it awkward to talk to people. Maybe he was so socially awkward, but it's just the fact that landscapers don't talk to each other. But by talking and sharing and communicating and promoting good dialogue, this industry will become better, because we'll all share our knowledge and helping each other out. And you know yourself, is that if you wanted some help in the future, you want me to pop back down to Ailes Owen and see you, I'm more than happy to do that.
Appreciate it.
My
Thank you.
Oh, right. What I was saying is that the videos that I'm doing is there to help people, and I'll say this, and I said it time and time again, I might not be able to get back to everybody, but if you want to drop me an email, and you know, if I can help you, if I can get back to you, I will. You know, I can't get back to everybody straight away, but if you phone me, my number is 07795 595 994. It's there to help people. Don't abuse it. I should have to change my number because of other people. You can find my number on the website. But if you need any help and you need some support, don't be alone. You know, don't get in trouble. Because there's nothing worse when you get things wrong. Like, you know, so I think it's starting to rain now.
Hi guys, day 3, final day. Weather's getting a little bit terrible. Managed to get the there's Johnny boy. Still thinks he's the king. Yeah, day 3, all done. Going back up to Birmingham now this afternoon. Go back and see the little boy and the wife. But yeah, it's been really good. Eloy wants to be on the camera, but learned a lot.
Put it in now. This is you. This is
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
All right. And what you've learned and your progress and going forward and how it's going to help you.
Oh yeah, I've learned so much. The progress of myself, not just actually laying the porcelain or the landscape, but the business side. Learned a lot from John. Guys, literally, if you can, speak to John. He will help you, especially for us young lads. 37 years of knowledge, it's helps big time. But yeah, any of you guys in Birmingham, if anyone wants to anyone wants any more help, obviously I can come down and learn from some of the other guys as well. I'm not just there working with John. Anyone else got any more tips or advice going forward into the future, just hit me up on Facebook, Instagram. I'll pass the details over to John so we can put them in the link in the video or in the comments. But yeah, really, really good. Really pleased with the progress that we made on this. It is good. On to the future.
Well, here we are. It's not exactly the end of the day. It's what's the time now? Approximately what? What's the time?
20 to 1.
20 to 1. Can't do no more now. Not necessarily because of the rain. We can work in the rain. But there's certain jobs you can't do in the rain. But the most important thing which I want to bring to your attention, if you're a consumer, okay, and you've commissioned somebody to come and do the work for you, you've got to get a skip, because the last thing any contractor wants to do is to get rid of that. And that's what basically encourages fly tipping, because they shouldn't do it. I know they shouldn't do it, but you have these contractors up and down the country, right? They think, what do I do with the rubbish? You've got to include a skip. If you're a contractor or if you're a consumer, you need a skip. Look at it. You don't want to be taking that home, and you don't want to be fly tipping it. But the most important thing is that you know that in my mind here,
Yeah.
there's a massive vault of not empty space of information where I can help you to move forward. But you're not going to learn it, and I agree with you. You're not going to learn it straight away. You're not.
It's going to be, as I'm going, it's going to be like, oh, might be worth asking John his opinion on
Yeah,
this.
it's just opinions,
Yeah.
because that's all it is. Design is all. It's all subjective, isn't it? Everybody will have a different bit of opinion on it, but how to do things, how to go about things. But you've got to be able to give the answers, and you haven't got to, but you've got to be able to say to a client, I actually don't know the answer to that. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But you say, I'll get back to you on that one. Let me get back to you on that one. That's how you do it. That's how you generate confidence, by being able to say that. We'll move on to the next stage. But if you want to go on to the next stage, then it's going to cost you something. It has to, because it's my time. And they go, do you know, Dan, I actually like that idea. Do you know, we don't need to go that way. Let's go by that. Can you take some measurements? Yeah, I'll go measure it. And you go A to B, 10 meters. Oh my God, it's 11 meters. They've got quite a square garden, right? Which is good. And that's when you move on in that direction, then you see. But then if you want to offer them something a little bit more formal, you can do, if you want to.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, with you.
So, but that is a natural progression from going out and speaking to a client and ask them how big the patio. So the biggest, the number one question is who's going to use the garden, how they're going to use the garden, how big is the table, how many people's going to sit around that table, how much space do you need behind the chair. So that's one of the fundamental, the most important thing then. So once you've established that, then you can start moving on.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to do. You got to have a vision to sort of like take it. You just want to sell a patio. You want to sell some plants.
Yeah.
Because the plants that make the garden, don't they?
Yeah.
It's the plants, the living stuff, the living product. It's not the wearing courses that do it. It's the plants.
Yeah, it's the visuals, isn't it?
Yeah. Even the thing is, even if they don't buy the visuals off you, it's those visuals
that imagination. You've got to be creative.
Yeah, you have to
All
have
right.
the imagination and the creativity
Yeah, absolutely.
to get the jobs, really, haven't you? Okay.
To a total new level, completely.
Yeah.
Completely new level. So you can say to a customer, say, look, see that fence now, that fence you've got along there, you've got a feather edge fence, which is typical in British gardens, right? It's just a blank canvas, right? And you look at that feather edge fence and it looks absolutely awful because everybody has a feather edge fence in a back garden with a rock border at the bottom sometimes, and sometimes it's done good and sometimes it's done bad. And say, do you know what we can actually do with that? Is to bring out the colour of the plants, is what we can do, paint it black. Do you realise by painting things black or a colour that's going to show off the plants, show off the green, and you can talk about colours. You've got to understand the colours. You've got to look at how colours work in a garden, all right? So that fence is, at the moment, it looks like everybody else's fence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you can smart that fence up by putting a capping on the top, okay? Every post, you could put like you could put one of those little acorns on the top. Do you see what I mean? And all of a sudden that fence starts becoming a little bit more ornamental and it starts looking a bit of a feature. But then you could paint it in a pastel colour.
Yeah.
Honestly, I see a video the other day about a guy that painted the fence black, and he had up these box balls and they were really green and it really showed off the plants massively. But you've got to understand that. You've got to be able to look in the garden and you've got to be able to say to a customer, there's ways that we can make your garden look a million times better than what it is now. Simple little things you can do in your garden to make it look better. Are you with me?
Yeah.
You know, so, but that's the thing you've got to start understanding. You've got to understand those design principles like balance, proportion, scale, unity, cohesiveness, texture, contrast. There's a few more, but just understanding those and how they all work with each other.
Yeah.
So that the one partner's idea of balance and scale and proportion may be different to the other partner.
Yeah. It's compromising between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then, like, if you look at that fence then, right, and you think, you know, how do you break up all those horizontal lines? You break them up with some vertical lines by maybe putting like a pencil pine in every so often, so you have that formal garden. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it breaks up the effect. All right, that's exaggerated, but then the eye is taking off that line
Yeah.
because you've got that vertical effect.